You know, Michael, I fathered a legitimate son. But I kept all this from my mother. Okay. Let's make sure that we are live here before I do anything or say anything. Want to make sure that we are live. Make sure everything's working. I believe it is. Yep. We are working. We're up and good. What's going on? Been a minute. But yeah, we're going to rip some drafts for playoff best ball. So that's the plan today. If you guys are new here, make sure y'all subscribe. We're going to try to get some more drafts ripped before playoffs start, as the playoff picture kind of looks like it's getting, I don't want to say finalized, but for lack of better wording, finalized. We got some tools that we can use. We also have some things that I have been using myself to kind of aid in the process of playoff best ball itself. So with that being said, give me a couple minutes here, and we're going to go ahead and start the countdown. All right, so it is December 30th, almost December 31st. We are through week 17. Officially, things have wrapped up in Detroit, and Detroit has won the game out on the West Coast against the 49ers. So Detroit right now does have the 1 seed. Obviously, if you guys follow the channel, you guys know that Detroit and Minnesota play week 18. If you guys follow NFL, you know that already. And the winner of that game is going to be the 1 seed. Realistically, in the NFC, that is about the only thing that can change with everything going on right now. So, what I have to bring up is a playoff bracket, which I'm going to show you guys now. This I always have up while I'm drafting, which needs to be updated as well. Lions do have the bye currently. Obviously, the winner of the Lions-Vikings will get the bye for the NFC and will obtain the 1 seed. But for the most part, this has been fairly accurate as to what we're seeing for the playoffs thus far. This is based off of Week 17 results, and we haven't gotten past the Vikings or the Lions win yet. We haven't updated it since game just ended, so I will make sure to get this updated. If you guys need it, you can see the thing up there. Also, we're taking bracket results. If you guys want to enter, it's $10 an entry. You can have up to 3 entries into the bracket contest. We are going to go ahead and host that as well. It's on my Twitter. If you guys aren't familiar with my Twitter, it should be in the description below. Go ahead and drop a follow over there as well. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into a Mitten 2 draft. As you can see, we have gauntlets. We have Mittens, Big Mitten, the bigger Mitten. I'm probably not going to be entering these two, just not within my budget to do that. However, I think playoff best ball is a volume game, as you can see from the volume of drafts that I have done. So I am a firm believer in that. But at the end of the day, price point wise is what matters. And like I said before, I think volume is the king of the game here. And that's the name of the game for playoff best ball. So we're going to go ahead and hop into a Mitten 2 draft. We're probably going to rip a couple today, 2 or 3, kind of talk some strategies here of kind of what my mind is thinking, where I'm at with current playoff as it is, and kind of where I'm at with the standings as they are right now. as you can see, we'll hop back over to the bracket while we're waiting for people to join. You could kind of see that there's good matchups here, I think, honestly. Ravens Chargers, I think, is probably the most intriguing matchup of the first round for me on the NFC side or the AFC side. I think that could be a potential upset with the Chargers, based on how they play. I do think they're a very ground and pound type of team. Everybody knows that. Harbaugh has made that clear. It is the Harbaugh Bowl. The Ravens did get the upper hand on them last time, and the Ravens are a very hot football team right now. But I think the Chargers could make that game pretty interesting. All things considered with their defense, I think they do have a better defense than the Ravens do. So I think that alone could keep them in the game. I do think that makes it interesting. On the NFC side, as it stands right now, I think the Buccaneers and whoever they play between the Vikings and the Lions is a very interesting game. I also think the Rams Commanders is one that nobody at the beginning of the year probably anticipated coming. So it's kind of interesting to see them in that playoff kind of contention there, and kind of interesting to see that they have made it this far. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels has looked phenomenal this year, probably rookie of the year this year. So we'll see how that pans out. We do get the number 2 pick here. Number 2 isn't a bad spot. You're drafting a Ravens team more than likely. That is something that I am okay with doing. I don't love doing it because I am a huge Bills proponent. We'll kind of go over my exposures after this draft too. But I'm a huge Bills guy, so I like okay. And as I say that, he takes Derrick Henry number 1. And we will go ahead and get Josh Allen, and we will build the Bills. So we get what we want. Derrick Henry 1, you don't see that very often. Hardly ever, actually, especially from a badge. That's kind of interesting. So that is something that is kind of rare to see. I do have a Zevia here. So if you guys see me getting a drink, it's not anything crazy. Now, like I said, I have this sheet, and then there's one other sheet, which I'm going to pull up a Discord to get real quick, drag it down. Shout out to the Pound Discord. We talk in there quite a bit. But here's another thing that I use. This is a probability sheet of what each seeding is going to be. Obviously, we're pretty set right now. I'm going to go ahead and post that in the comments here just to make sure everybody has it if they want it. But that has been a really good reference for me. Obviously, Super Bowl winners, it's pretty hard to predict those as it is, but it gives you some outlines of kind of where to start. So the goal of the Mitten and the goal of playoff best ball, if you guys are new to drafting playoff best ball, is to field a Super Bowl roster. So you want 5 guys going into the final game. So realistically, you're trying to build from the finals down if you can. Now, he takes James Cook here, which kind of sucks for us. We really wanted James Cook there. So now we could build Detroit if we want, which I think is a very viable thing to do. I also think it is very viable to get an Eagle here and see what he does with Derrick Henry. I think we're going to do that. Go ahead and take Devontae Smith and use an AFC team as our advance rate play. So the Chargers, for example, somebody like that. And he does go Goff, Jameson. There was a chance that happened, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and take our Bills stack here and go ahead and get Shakir on top of Devontae Smith. Just to have an Eagles side Super Bowl as well. And one other thing that I like to have up outside of this is I also go to FanDuel, which I am going to do off stream here. Sign on to FanDuel and kind of use it as a reference as well. Betting odds for Super Bowls, things like that, I do like to use just to see, kind of who's where at the current moment, who lives where at odds right now with books, because books, ideally, they tell us a lot of things that, maybe puts us back in line with our opinions, so to speak. The Vikings and the Eagles yesterday were equal odds. Now the Eagles are slightly favored than Minnesota. Green Bay plus 1,500. I feel like that's a little too high. Rams 2,500. I feel like they should be closer to the Packers. Bucks, same thing, same story. I think those 2 teams should be closer. The AFC right now, I feel like it's the Chiefs, it's the Bills, and it's the Ravens, and you don't want any other team. And I know that's I know that's kind of harsh to say, but I just don't think you really want realistically any other team in the AFC right now. I don't think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl. I just don't think they're there yet. Even the Ravens, I'm not super high on. Like, my exposures will show all of that, what I just said. I'm not super high on the Ravens being in. That's just not one team that I've been willing to build this year. Interesting picks here. You see Addison goes with the Eagles, so he's picking the opposite side. At least it correlates. I think what we're gonna go ahead and do is take Puka Nacua here, just to make sure that we get this going here. Let's see, Eagles 3-6 plays 2-7. So no, we want to build Minnesota if we can, or Green Bay, because Green Bay's 2-7. No, we don't want to build that. We're gonna go with Amari Cooper. I said that we're gonna go Kyron, actually. Go Kyron Puka, and then we'll get another bill after the Kyron Puka. Because I don't think it matters what bills you get as long as you're getting them. We're taking those guys as advance rate plays, as hopes to maybe get a NFC team involved as well. Obviously, Amari Cooper, Kincaid, all these guys that I see as a bill, I'm willing to go down as far as Dawson Knox to draft them. I mean, I just don't really see a point not to. Obviously, Amari Cooper goes, Mac Hollins, Ty Johnson. Like, all these guys are very viable pieces, in my opinion. I just don't really think there's any specific bill that I'm looking to get more of than the other outside of Shakir. Amari Cooper's looked okay. He hasn't looked exceptional. Kincaid's been the second most targeted player these last few weeks. So Kincaid's a guy I've been getting a lot of. Those are kinds of guys that I look for. I just need targets. I don't know that we really necessarily need them to be converted targets, but I need them to look towards them at least. I need Josh Allen to be looking in their vicinity. And right now, the best two players on the Bills are Josh Allen and James Cook to have. Shakir's number 3. After that, it's a crapshoot of who you're getting. So getting advance rate plays to get you guys through the first couple rounds is going to be big. After the first couple rounds, it's all about fielding a full roster. At least from my experience, that's what it's been. I got a couple teams in the finals last year, playoff best ball, and I fielded full rosters. So it's big to get full rosters in. That's the key. You got to get full rosters in. I would love to take Josh Jacobs here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and take Keon Coleman and build that out. Actually, no. We could take Josh Jacobs. I don't typically do this with Eagles as a one-off, but I think we're going to, because I think we can take Keon Coleman next, and then we can really start building Bills. Because now we got Ty Johnson potentially coming as a running back, and we got some advance rate plays. I know the Green Bay Packers are looking to play the Eagles, which is probably likely to happen. But at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world. It could be worse. You'd rather have the roster optionality, but Josh Jacobs falling to pick 35, like, I'm not passing up the value there. Usually he goes in the 2-3 turn. I mean, not even then, honestly. So I'm not going to pass that optionality up. Jaden Reed's still here as well. Very cheap Jaden Reed. We like to see that. We're not going to build out a Cooper Kupp here. I don't think we need to build the Rams out that far. Like I said, I need more Bills. So Ty Johnson's probably going to be our next pick just to secure that Bills 4-piece there. We have Josh Allen, Ty Johnson, Khalil Shakir. And of course, okay, he goes Ty Johnson. He's building something stupid. We have no idea what he's doing. That means we're probably going to have to go Ray Davis later. That's fine. At the end of the day, like I said, I've been drafting as low as Mac Hollins. That is fine. We can take Mac Hollins, and then we can go take Ray Davis after this pick. Just to make sure we lock that in. It's unfortunate. We wanted Ty Johnson. I don't know what this guy is doing. Like I said, when you play playoff best ball, you start to notice a lot of people who know what they're doing and don't know what they're doing. This guy does not know what he's doing at all. Absolutely no clue what he's doing. He has no NFC teams at all. He does not field a full Super Bowl. He's just clicking buttons. Let's see. Let's look at the board here real quickly. And see kind of what everybody's doing. I wish there was a better way to view this. Henry, Goff, Jameson, Bateman, Montgomery, Hopkins, Daniels, Likely, McLaurin. Okay, so he's building a Lions and Ravens Super Bowl with a Lions way, which is cool. He's only got 2 Lions pieces though, in Jameson and Monty. He's got Rashad Bateman, Derrick Henry. He's gonna get Likely as well. So there's a 5-man. He's also got Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. So he does have Lions/Commanders Super Bowl with the Ravens as the other AFC side. This guy, like I said, is just clicking buttons, has no clue what he's doing. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert. He's got 3 pieces there. KC, he's got 2 pieces. There's a KC Eagles Super Bowl there. Doesn't have anything for the Ravens, so you might take a one-off Raven at the end here. We have Saquon, Jettas, Mahomes, Addison, Aaron Jones. He's got the Vikings pieces here with an Eagle one-off. Hollywood Brown, which is interesting because if the Vikings get the 1 seed, this is a very fun build, so to speak. I've seen people build that before, so it is a pretty fun build at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, I'm also going to be taking Dawson Knox here. I think either a Green Bay Packer or, a Bill is a good pick here. If there was an Eagle available, great. There really isn't, though. Grant Calcantara is not bad. Not one of the worst options you could have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you have 6 with Green Bay as well. Actually, I think we got enough here to advance, so I think we're going to go Calcantara here. I think he's a better pick than Dawson Knox just to get on the other side. And on top of that, it adds another Eagle, so I think that's a better pick than Dawson Knox personally. We're going to go Grant Calcaterra there, and that's kind of what our roster looks like. We did take Jacobs as an advance rate play, which honestly I'm not opposed to doing. At the end of the day, it's about getting through. If you can get your team through the first 2 rounds and it's still constructed very nicely, I think you have a pretty good shot at moving forward in a good way. Let's put it that way, because there is moving forward in a good way and moving forward in a bad way. And that one guy who was constructing a team with no Super Bowl at all, that is moving forward in a bad way. Obviously, that helps your portfolio overall, as it helps to move on teams that necessarily aren't good, which could move on to your pod in another team. So that's something that you can look at and say, cool, that's great. I'm happy that happened. At the end of the day, it is what it is. So moving on to the next pick, or the next draft here, we got pick number 3. We're not going to get Josh Allen here. Definitely not going to get Josh Allen here. So we're not going to get the Bills quarterback, so to speak. But like I said, a lot of my strategy for this has been take Bills nonstop. I mean, if I can get an NFC quarterback like Hurts and build the Bills side of it with Hurts, great. That's kind of my goal. Realistically, what I want to get is Hurts, Cook. If you can get it, Jalen Hurts, James Cook, that's a great start, in my opinion. And then if you can get Devontae Smith to follow it up, even best. That's even better, to be honest. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. That's what we're going to try to do and see what happens. But knowing how these drafts go, you got to be ready to adapt. So Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, that's typically what the first 3 picks look like. Typically. Usually this 4th pick, if I have it, I'm going Patrick Mahomes. And that'll show from my exposures as well, that if I have 4 or 5, I'm usually going Patrick Mahomes. If I have 6, I'm usually double-clicking Eagles or double-clicking Lions and praying a quarterback falls to me. Which, arguably speaking, I think you could reverse those strategies too, now that I'm kind of thinking about it. Because if you go Gibbs, or Saquon here. You're just hoping you get one of those guys back, whether it be Amon-Ra or AJ Brown. If you can get one of those two guys back to you, you could push quarterback, which is nice. But at the end of the day, sometimes you can't. Okay, so we got Derrick Henry and Amon-Ra going off the board here. See, now if I were this guy, I'd be taking Jared Goff. Because if he doesn't, he's going to, well, he actually is ahead of him. He takes James Cook there. That's unfortunate for us. We really wanted James Cook there. Hopefully we can get AJ Brown. Saquon team doesn't take him, is what we're hoping. If he does, we're okay. Well, that's unfortunate for us. It is what it is. At the end of the day, so we're going to be fighting Chiefs all day. And we're just going to go ahead and take our Devontae Smith stack here. And we're going to be fighting the Chiefs all day. It is what it is. I'm okay with taking Chiefs as well. I'm just as okay taking Chiefs as I am Bills. I do think they're both very good combos to have. However, I still would prefer the Bills. Personally, it's not that I can't take the Bills still. It's just that I don't have their best pieces. Therefore, I'm not building their best Super Bowl. Same with, the Eagles. The Eagles, it's hard to get their best pieces because you can't get Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley on the same team. It's just not possible right now. Shakir goes off the board to the Josh Allen team. Not surprised at all. I'm sure this team will take Zay Flowers. So realistically speaking, what it leaves us is taking Kelsey or Worthy, which in this point I am taking Worthy over Kelsey. Do with that what you will. I think Worthy's a better player at this point. Kelsey, I don't know, man. Kelsey to me is just not as good as Worthy. Worthy's a big spike week kind of guy. Kelsey, though, in this build, I think makes sense. I think you go Kelsey. If you can get Worthy back, great. If not, you got Hollywood Brown you can get later, which I am more than happy with. You also have Kareem Hunt, which I am more than happy with getting. So we're going to go ahead and take Kelsey here in hopes that we can get something going here. He takes Jared Goff. He takes Pat Mahomes. He takes J-Mo, which is interesting because Patrick Mahomes falling this far is kind of crazy. I thought about clicking quarterback at Pat Mahomes again just to have it, but I was like, nah. I'd rather play the Eagles Super Bowl out just to see what happens. I don't think it's a bad option to have Mahomes Hurts. I don't. I've done it before, but personally, I decided I didn't really want to do it. This guy was really probably hoping to get Goff, realistically speaking. He doesn't get him. And that's the risk you run in those first few rounds of not getting a quarterback. Because now you have to build one of these very unlikely teams. You could build the Vikings. The Vikings are fine. But the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, you got to build one of these very unlikely teams to get there. And I personally hate doing that. This guy's got Mahomes. He's probably going to go Worthy if he's smart. If not, we get Worthy and we're happy. But I'm assuming he's going to go Worthy. Pacheco. He doesn't go Worthy. Okay. So we're real happy now. At the end of the day, we are very happy that we get Worthy back to us. And now we have a really good Eagles and Chiefs Super Bowl. Which, honestly, like I said, when you're playing playoff best ball, you have to be able to put mindset aside of what you think can happen and build out circumstances that if it does happen, you have the best possible circumstance happening for you. And if you have the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you definitely want Kelsey, you definitely want Worthy, you definitely want Hurts, you definitely want Devontae. Those are 4 pieces you definitely want at the end of the day. And I think, personally, you want Hollywood Brown too. So, guess what? We have Hollywood Brown. So now we got 3 Chiefs. We could take either of these running backs. Personally, I like Pacheco still a little bit more. I'm not going to get him here. That's fine. I think Hollywood Brown is a little bit more valuable of a pick. You got to think game script a little bit as well. I think if we're playing the Eagles to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, let me rephrase myself. This is the way they do it. The way they win this, the way this wins a contest is the Eagles have to throw the ball. Devontae Smith is the guy getting the ball. The Chiefs have been throwing the ball. It's kind of a shootout. I mean, this is how this wins. This is not a ground and pound, give it to Saquon kind of game script, is what we're playing here. So next pick should be Goddard or Kareem Hunt. I think going Kareem Hunt is a lot more important to this build because Kareem Hunt obviously has the first round bye. But at the end of the day, once the bye is through, I think Kareem Hunt is a valuable piece to have as well. I don't think he's necessarily a bad piece. I think he's a good piece. I think he can punch in touchdowns. He gets a good amount of carries. He's also a big part of the red zone offense for this Chiefs team, which is going to get to the red zone quite a bit due to everybody being healthy again. I think we saw it a little bit against the Steelers. This team healthy is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. We got 4 Chiefs pieces. Now we really need to be careful because we have the 4 Chiefs. What you could also do here is we don't necessarily have to go Goddard. We do need to go Gainwell, though, because we could go 4-3-3 and get another NFC team as well, which I'm not going to say it's a bad plan to do it. You can. It's not the worst idea, though, because you could go Buccaneers here and take Baker Mayfield at an upset, and they're still on opposite sides of the bracket from Philadelphia. I actually like that play quite a bit. If you can get Dallas Goedert here or Kenny Gainwell, personally, I'd rather get Kenny Gainwell, but you're playing out the Chiefs to make it there regardless. So, it is what it is. At this point, the Chiefs are the 1 seed. You know that they get the bye. So you know that those first 4 or 5 picks there are not going to be scored. He goes Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that, but he did it. We're going to go Gainwell. Like I said, his team isn't making any sense. It sucks. I hate seeing Bills teams that don't make any sense unless he's just going to check. He's going to put 3 Bills at the end here, which, I mean, you could do in theory, I guess, but I'm not a big fan of building it that way. He has Shakir. He has good running backs. It's fine, I guess, but I'm not a fan of taking all these NFC pieces that are eventually going to eliminate themselves. So that kind of stinks for me. McMillan's another guy that I'd be okay taking. I've taken him a few times. But at the end of the day, it kind of sucks the fact that he did take Evans from us because now we need to make a decision on if we want to go with that NFC team or not, which at this point, I'm kind of leaning the not option, but we kind of need to anyways. Let's see. We could go Green Bay. Green Bay's supposed to play these guys. It's kind of tough. We are also going to pull up the Week 18 schedule on my phone just so I have it here and readily available. Go back. Go to NFL. The Commanders play the Dallas Cowboys. That should be a win for them. And that makes it to where it doesn't really matter who the Packers play, but the Packers play the Bears. So, I think, of course, he takes Goddard here once again, just not making any reasonable sense. We could go Tampa Bay. We could also get on the other side of KC, which would be the Pickens route. Actually, no, they are the 5 seed right now, correct? Yes. Okay. So we would need to go Chargers. We're still going to go the Pickens route anyways, because we do need that first round kind of deal to happen. I still think it's okay. He went Bucky Irving. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got a Super Bowl at least. It's not an ideal one, but it is a Super Bowl nonetheless. We could go Dobbins as a piece to help us. We could do, let's see. Robinson is a piece that I'm willing to take. He takes Achan. That's horrible. Let's see. I think we stick with the Steelers and we go Jalen Warren. Because if they get through and play the Chiefs, obviously speaking, they're going to be trailing. Those are the two main guys that they'll have on the field. So you got two. We realistically need one more good weapon. And we don't have another NFC team right now. So we could go Green Bay piece. We could go Tampa Bay piece. We could go. Realistically, I think Green Bay piece is the best way we can go. We could also go Zach Ertz. I don't really love the Zach Ertz choice, but it looks like that's one of the few places I can go. That makes sense. Let's see. I think Tucker Kraft's a great pick. I think Dobbs is a pick. I think Dobbs is one of those guys that's just going to get points. I think Cooper Kupp is a guy who could blow up, and it makes sense because he's 3'6". So I think we're going to go Cooper Kupp, actually. Cooper Kupp's one of those guys that nobody really likes to take, especially if you take him in the last round. I mean, that's somebody that I feel like can actually still put up respectable games. Like I said, Pickens, Warren, and Kupp, those are just advanced rate guys that you're trying to get this bowl to get through. We'll see what happens. But we're going to do one more here. And actually, before we do that, we're going to check the exposures list here. So exposures, you can kind of see here what we have. I am going to go ahead and search by team just to show you guys kind of what I have. Chiefs, obviously, I think the Chiefs are the favorite this year. I mean, they have to be by default the favorite, in my opinion. The Kareem Hunt Pacheco situation, it's been one that I've monitored quite a bit this year. I do think that it is very equal. However, I want to make sure that I have equal amounts of both. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I want to have equal amounts of both those guys. So that's kind of where I'm at this point with that team. The Bills, obviously, like I said, I'm drafting as low as Dawson Knox, Curtis Samuel. We have Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Mac Hollins, Keon Coleman, Josh Allen. I'd love to see Josh Allen's number get to about, 25, 30%. Kind of not possible now due to, drafters taking him number 1 overall now. Used to, you could get him at 4 or 5. Now you really can't. So it's kind of tough. Obviously, you could tell from my exposures here that those are the guys that I'm drafting a lot. I like the Bills. I think the Bills are a team that are going to be competitive. The Ravens, you could see I'm a little bit lower on. Not nearly as high on the Ravens as previous years. I personally don't know that this is the year for them. They don't really have a defense that I trust. And on top of that, their offense is great. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, their defense is just one you can't trust. And that to me is something you need in the playoffs. Is more than one way to win a game. And I feel like it's their offense that wins games and their defense hurts them. So Houston, the wheels fell off for them majorly. I'm not really taking much Mixon or Nico hardly at all anymore. I don't trust this team at all. I don't even know that this team beats the Steelers the way they're looking. I prefer the Steelers to them personally. I just don't really see the Houston Texans doing a whole lot this year. Like I said, the injury bug reared its head at them and has totally just ruined their team. And I don't think that they're a good football team. I think there's better. Steelers, I think they're a good defensive team, obviously speaking. I think everybody knows that about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And on top of that, I do think Pickens is a great playmaker. I do think they have some talent there on the offensive side of the ball. Russell Wilson's good enough to lead them to a playoff win, I think, over the Texans. I just don't know that he's able to beat the Chiefs. And I think that's a very long shot of happening. Obviously, by my exposures, that makes plenty of sense as to my thinking. So that's kind of where I'm at. Chargers. I said it earlier. I kind of wish my exposures were a little higher on the Chargers. But like I said before, this was when I could get them for free. You can't really get them for free anymore. They are 6th-round picks. And that's too early for my liking. I think that's way too expensive for Chargers personally. I do think they're the best chance to upset one of the top 3 in the AFC, but I don't think that I'm willing to bet that, so to speak. I just think the top 3 are the top 3 and the rest really don't stand a chance. But I think they are the best chance to upset somebody. The Broncos, obviously, they're a team. That's my favorite NFL team. So it's hard for me to sit here and say this, but they're playing the second and third string Chiefs. I think they'll get by them. Maybe they don't. In the case that they don't, well, those shares of Cortland Sutton, Bo Nix, and 1 share of Javonte Williams is kind of going out the window at this point. But I think they get past the Chiefs next week. It's going to be a fun situation to kind of watch play out. Bengals, I have taken very little, very, very, very little. Bengals, not very much at all. I don't think that there's a chance that they get in. Obviously, it's still like a 8% chance or 9% chance that they get in. They still need the Dolphins to lose next week, which they play the Jets, and I think the Dolphins beat the Jets. They need the Broncos to lose to the second and third string Chiefs. I don't see that happening either, but they have given themselves a huge chance. And if you guys are playing the risk reward game, which this is a high risk, high reward type of game, you can build out Bengals for free right now. It's not that hard to do. You could get a full Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase team pretty easily right now. If they do get in, this is a team that I think could definitely upset some teams. Just simply put on their offense alone, they have a lot of offensive firepower. I don't really see them getting in, but like I said, same with the Dolphins. I don't think the scenario happens that the Broncos lose 2 weeks in a row. If it happens, if they lose to the second stringers of the Chiefs, well, obviously Dolphins teams are going to start getting drafted. I'm not a huge fan of the Dolphins, even if they do get in. If they do get in, the Bills are just going to wipe the floor with that team. I don't see that they have a singular chance in this world of beating the Bills, but it is a team you have to consider. The Colts are out of playoff contention. I never took the Colts. I've been drafting quite a while, and I just never took the Colts. NFC side, we are going to start at the top. Lions, you can see I like the Lions quite a bit. I have taken a little bit of Craig Reynolds. I got some Khalif Raymond, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Patrick, Laporta. I would like to see a little bit more Jameson Williams in my exposures. Amon-Ra is about where I'd like him to be. Goff is fine. Patrick and Laporta, I think Patrick's a little higher than I'd like him to be. Monty, I think, is about where I'd like him to be. I think with his injury, I don't know how viable he's going to be when he comes back. We'll see, but I don't know that he's going to be like super viable when he gets back. But like I said, it's the Lions. You got to draft them, and I think it's worth drafting. Eagles, very condensed offense. Doesn't shock me at all that I see Goddard as my number 1 owned in the Eagles. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, I have him about even. Like I said, doesn't shock me at all. Saquon, I only have about 12% of. As I've said previously, Eagles for me are hard to build because you can't get Hurts and you can't get Saquon on the same team, which are the 2 pieces you want. And one of my rules of thumbs are if you're taking, the quarterback of a team, you want to get his best weapon. And I think the best weapon on the Eagles is obviously Saquon Barkley. It's very difficult to build a Saquon Jalen Hurts team because it just never falls. So That is the reasoning why my Eagles exposures are a little lower. I do think they should be a little higher than this, but I think they're okay where they are. We're going to go to the Rams next. I was not taking Rams for free. I did not know how to feel about this Rams team early on. I still don't know how to feel about this Rams team. The defense has stepped up a lot recently for this team. Kyron is still Kyron at the end of the day. I am happy to see that my Kyron exposures are the highest of this team. However, the Puka Nacua being at 4%, I don't love that. I really don't love his price point right now either. I think he's way too expensive for a team that I think could get first rounded. So I kind of struggle with drafting Rams right now just because of that. Moving on to the Buccaneers. Now, this is a team that is a very fun team to draft. You can get them almost free still for some reason. Don't know why, but you can get them free. And that to me is something that is going very under the radar right now. I think this team should be going almost where the Chargers are going right now. And I don't get why they're not. You know, Bucky Irving has been sensational this year. Mike Evans has been sensational yet again. Rashad White has been a sensational running back for them. Baker has been absolutely phenomenal this year. McMillan has stepped up in Godwin's absence. Cade Otton has been great this year as a tight end. I've only drafted Cade Otton once, but that was even before McMillan became a thing. I just think this team is very fun. I do think this team has a chance to beat the Vikings or the Lions. I really do. This team is hot right now. They are on fire. They are probably the best offense right now in the NFL, which is insane to say. If they're not the best, they're top 3 or 4. They do everything they want at will. I just think this is a very fun team to watch right now. And to me, that is a team that I want shares of because I think they could I think they could turn some heads this year. Moving on to the Vikings. Once again, that 4-5 game, I think, is a very interesting game. I was drafting Vikings as advance rate plays, and if they get to the bye, I think that becomes very fun. For some of my teams, others obviously not so much. But I do think that the Vikings are a fun team to draft. They're a team that, offensively speaking, they throw it quite a bit. They really don't have the best of run games. Obviously, you can see the condensedness of this list here. I do think Naylor is a very viable play to take if you are building a very deep Viking super stack. Or well, I guess they call it mega stack, not super stack. But I haven't gotten any mega stacks for the Vikings yet. I think past Addison, Jefferson, Darnold, and Jones, and Hawkinson, obviously, it gets pretty tough to take any of those guys. Whether it be Naylor, whether it be any of those types of guys, I think it gets very tough. But I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not viable plays. I think Akers, if you need to build out a Viking stack and somebody snipes you on Aaron Jones, I think Akers is very viable. I also think Ty Chandler is viable. Very deep pieces. But like I said, when you get to the Super Bowl, if your team shows up, you want points. Simply put, that's how you build these teams, in my opinion. So you get some advance rate plays, you take a last round click at Cam Akers, and you move on. That's my opinion. The Commanders. We have more Commanders than we do Rams, I think, at this point. I think we're about actually, no, we're about equal on the Commanders and Rams, but I think the Commanders are kind of tough to take just because they're so condensed to Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. And after that, it's kind of like a toss-up of who you're going to get. Zacchaeus has performed decently this year. Zach Ertz has obviously been pretty good this year. He's been their second choice. Austin Eckler, there's a chance he returns this season. We'll see. I don't think he's a great pick, obviously. Brian Robinson is the guy. He's had a hard time running or holding on to the football. He had 2 fumbles there's a game against the Eagles this past week. he did a lot better with that. But like I said, he struggled with holding onto the ball. McNichols is still there as well. I just think outside of drafting Daniels and McLaurin on this team, it's kind of tough. I do think Ertz is a worthy pick. I think Zacchaeus could be a worthy pick, a guy that I click a little bit going in like the future drafts. But that's kind of where I stand with the Commanders right now. I do think they're a team that can beat the Rams. I do think their defense is a little bit better than the Rams. And I also think that their offense, they have a better quarterback. They have more explosive plays that they can do, in different ways. Stafford is just a statue in the pocket. And I get it. Stafford is really good in the playoffs. He's performed well. But at the end of the day, I think Jaden Daniels is a great rookie. I think he has been one of the better rookies in recent history as far as quarterbacks go. I think this quarterback class was special. And I think Jaden Daniels is leading the way. So, I trust Jaden Daniels at this point. I'm getting to the point where I'm come around on him. I think this team is just as good as the Rams, if not better. Moving on to the last team. You're going to see my exposures on the Packers pretty high. Honestly, I'm probably done taking Packers. You can get Packers for free. I think they're a good team. Jordan Love has struggled recently. They're all right. I mean, like I said, if the value falls to me, it's going to happen. They're going to start falling down draft boards, I think, because they are the 7 seed. And personally, them against the Eagles, I don't love that matchup for them at all. I think the Eagles have a better defense. I don't love the matchup for them whatsoever. But at the end of the day, they are the Packers. They have a good coach in LaFleur, good run game, good enough quarterback, a lot of good weapons, a lot of okay weapons. Let me rephrase myself. A lot of okay weapons, but not great weapons. They have a lot of those kinds of guys like Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. Those guys are all okay weapons. They're all 700-yard receivers. They're all pretty good. Tucker Kraft's come a long way. Good red zone threat. I just, Josh Jacobs is the bread and butter of that team. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Packers. NFC teams that could still get in, the Falcons, obviously speaking, it's a very big long shot that the Falcons do get in. I have a little bit of them. I drafted them at the beginning. Not huge drafting them now. The team that I was on a little bit more was the Seahawks. I wish that the Seahawks were getting in. I think they have a lot of fun pieces, but they're not going to be getting in. It looks like the Rams have pretty much secured that spot. So Seahawks do miss. Obviously, these 3 teams, however many it is, that I have them, they're done. They don't really have a spot. So kind of stinks, but it is what it is. So that's my portfolio analysis right there. I don't think I missed any teams. I don't believe. Kind of scrolling through here to make sure. But yeah, I don't think I missed any teams. Obviously, the 19 shares of Tank Dell, that kind of hurts. We even have gone as deep as Samaje Perine on the Chiefs. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Oh, Arizona. We did take at least one Arizona team. Back when they were in the running. Obviously, they're out now. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah. So we're going to get back into the drafts. We're probably going to do one more, maybe 2, and then we'll call it a night on the drafts. Because we've been live for about 50 minutes now, so, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Okay. So we got pick 4. One of my least favorite places to pick from. Like I said, typically I'm going Mahomes here. Like I've said previously, exposure-wise, you could see I have a lot of Mahomes. I think that the Chiefs are a team that you don't want to bet against. Chiefs and Bills are teams that I don't want to bet against in the AFC getting there. So I want as much of that as possible. To Take that for what it is. Let me. There we go. I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks much. This looks much better. Kind of like it in orange a little bit more. Do the little bubble. We got Josh Allen going number 101. Hurts goes 102, and Lamar is probably going to go 103. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and take. We're going to try something a little different here and see what happens. And no, we're not because of the room that we're in. We're going to take Mahomes and just keep it moving. If there was some no badges here, I would have tried to push Mahomes, but we got badges there, so I have a good, and we have guys who won BRs and stuff, so I don't want to necessarily push my luck there. In a room like this, a lot of this too is knowing your room and knowing what you can get away with. He's probably going to go Amon-Ra Gibbs. Oh, no, he goes Amon-Ra. Okay. So this gives us the opportunity to go Lions-Chiefs, which is the most favored outcome this year, which is great for us. Okay, he goes Gibbs and Saquon. That's a weird combo, but we'll go with it. I think you could play the Minnesota side. I'm not a huge fan of that, so we're going to go Eagles. We're going to go AJB here. I'm okay with that. We're going to go ahead and queue up some Chiefs. Queue up the Eagles. See what happens. Pacheco. Hollywood. I always like to queue up teams that I'm going to draft. Devontae Smith goes, unfortunately, is what it is. I always want to make sure that I'm ready to go with teams that I have queued. So, James Cook off the board. Khalil Shakir off the board. We still could build out this Eagles stuff with Minnesota. I'd be okay with that if Jefferson falls. If not, that's fine too. We still have Lions. Like I said, I like to have a big queue of players so I know what I'm looking at and I don't have to scroll. Zay goes. Birdman's probably going to go with a Lion here if I had to guess. He could go with Minnesota. I'm okay with going Jefferson here. I think it's a very fun play if Jefferson falls to us. If he doesn't, that's okay too. If getting Jefferson, AJB, Mahomes, that's very fun. Obviously, it doesn't happen there. I think we do want to go ahead and add to our teams here. We can get cheap Chiefs later. Go ahead and go JMO. I don't know who this guy's going to take. I have no clue who this guy's going to take. If I were him, I mean, there's nowhere he can go. He's got to go like one Lion here. Okay, so he's going to double snipe me on the Chiefs. Okay, that's fine. If he takes Worthy, he takes Worthy. That's kind of how we got to feel at this point. He takes Laporta, and he takes Worthy. Okay, so we're going to be fighting Chiefs all strapped along here. So that's fun. Addison's out at this point. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and take Hollywood as a reach. That's fine. I'm okay with reaching. It makes sense too. We need to get a running back. Aaron Jones is kind of out of the question at this point. Let's see. So we got our two NFC teams here. Let's see. We need an AFC advance rate play. This is kind of just what goes through my head as I'm drafting. Ladd is a perfect pick. Dobbins is another perfect pick. 4-5 plays the 1. We could take Jameson as an advance rate play. Go Bucky. We also have Montgomery that we can take. Oh, crap. We have Montgomery. We got Gainwell. We could go Evans. Evans as well. So we got guys that we can go with. Eagles together. KC together. Chargers, KC. Okay. So we got some pieces here that we can go. We're probably going to go Pacheco to make sure we get that third Chief. Do they have any reason to take Eagles? He kind of maybe does. Not really. He has no reason to take Eagles. So I think we're going to go Pacheco. That 1 week rest, I think, is going to do Pacheco some good. I do think that you could also go Ladd McConkey next pick instead of Goddard, but I'm going to take Goddard anyways. Because I think you want the Eagles to be there. Monty goes anyways. So makes sense for me. I get why he did what he did. So we're going to use JMO as kind of like an advanced rate piece. I honestly think getting Ladd McConkey's better. But we're going to go Goddard to build out that Super Bowl a little bit more. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We already have 5 now. So that's good for us. I'm not really anticipating going Jax or Khalif Raymond or Tim Patrick in this draft. So we have 1 Detroit advance piece, as in they lose to the Vikings. And then we have the Chiefs, 1, 2, 3 on bye. And we have 1, 2, 3 receivers. So we don't necessarily need to go receiver. We need to go running back, which in this case, Kenneth Gainwell is a big boost. That Tampa Bay team is a huge boost. I think we need to prioritize the either Chargers or the Tampa Bay. I think the Chargers would be the best play if we can get it. See, and then you got guys like this who are just building Bengals, and they're not even guaranteed to get in. They have a 9% chance to get in, and you're taking them at pick 35. That's too rich for my blood, too risky for my blood. If they get in, then I'll start drafting them. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay for them. Is what it is, though. We also need to look at quarterbacks here. He takes Burrow. Once again, not too rich for my blood. Looks like you're going to get your choice here of who you want to go with. I don't think he's going to go Tampa Bay. It makes no sense. Him going Tampa Bay makes some sense, but not a ton. I think we're going to go Tampa Bay and go Bucky and then Mike Evans. Because these guys already got receivers that advance them. So if they take Mike Evans, it kind of sucks for us. But I don't think they're going to. Because it just doesn't make sense for them to. You could also play the Ladd McConkey side, which I think could make some sense if you go Ladd, Dobbins, Let me look at this real quick. I got 3 picks left. You go Lag, Dobbins, and then Baker. I don't love that, though, because you're not playing out the Detroit Super Bowl as well. Well, Lad goes anyways, so never mind. You're not playing out 2 Super Bowl scenarios, so we're going to go ahead and go Hop or Mike Evans. Perfectly great with me. So now you got Jameson as an advancing piece. You have A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Dallas Goedert. So you only have one guy on bye. You need to take a Chief probably last. So now you need to go Baker, Noah Gray. Let's see, what other Chief can we take? Take Dobbins and them off. Eagles can stay as it is. It's not going to matter. We need Baker. Let's see. What other Chiefs can we take? That makes sense. I'm not taking Mecole Hardman or Sky Moore. Mecole's not even like a guy to take. Rice is done. Wentz is done. Juju's a guy that you could take. In theory, I'm taking Watson over him. It's not by much, obviously, but it's, something. Not much to speak about, but I think Noah Gray is the best option there by far. We're going to take Baker. Like I said, we got 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have the 4th piece. And we got 1, 2, 1, 2. And they're on opposite sides. So that's good. And we have JMO kind of as an advancing piece and a long shot to make a 5-man Super Bowl with the Lions. Which is kind of like how I like to build somewhat. Especially when I go AFC strong like this. Now, Noah Gray or Justin Watson. I want to see something. Watson gets more looks. But Watson also doesn't really get in the end zone. We're going to go Noah Gray. Makes most sense to do that. So, there's our picks. And there we are. We built the Chiefs Eagles, Chiefs Tampa Bay. There's our draft. Looks good to me. I think it's an interesting pick. I think that also when I see people building the Bills or the Bengals, I get extremely happy because, well, I don't think they're making the playoffs. So, therefore, it's a wasted draft for them. Because let's be real. You have automatically, let's go back and look at this. You automatically have 1, 2, 3 dead places there. So realistically, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you still have the Eagles and Ravens, but this is a very hard team to advance just based on the next round alone because you really only have Kyron. And realistically, 3-6 plays 2-7. 2-7 is going to be Eagles. 3-6 is going to be Rams. So they're playing each other the following round anyways. So it's like this team longevity-wise is just not a great team to build. Personally. That's just my 2 cents. But, it could be enough to get through. Who knows? Actually, we'll do 2 more drafts just to put it at an even number, and then we'll call it a stream. I usually try to do about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the day. So, okay, we got number 6. Oh, boy. Nice times we have here. Now, number 6 is a fun one, especially when you see a bunch of low badges and no badges. It's very difficult to draft from this spot. I don't love the 6 spot and I don't love the 4 spot. I'm not huge on either one. So, okay. Well, we get the rare Jalen Hurts drop, so that's nice to see. Go Jalen and AJB. Too bad we lost our super team in one of my leagues. Damn, bro. What a rough fantasy year this year for all parties. I mean, not a good redraft year for me at all. Well, not redraft, but dynasty league wise. We had so many good teams going into it, and well, Jalen Hurts decided he didn't want to play football. That's what sucks. You know, is what it is. So he takes Devontae Smith because he has Saquon. All right, so now we got to decide who the heck we're gonna go with. Um, you know, to me, it's a no-brainer. You double tap Chiefs there, and you build that out. Like I said, no-brainer to me. Um, those are the guys you want in a Chiefs bowl. Those are the guys you want in a Philly bowl, other than Saquon. So it's a no-brainer to me. He takes Pacheco. Andrews goes. I don't know that Goddard's a priority for me. We got to get this team through. So let's go ahead and take 3-6 plays 2-7. I don't love taking Kyron with this build, but it's kind of leaving me no choice. 4-5. Aaron Jones is already gone. What about the other side? 4-5. That's yeah. Okay. So realistically, we really are gonna have to go Tampa. See, this is why I have to go Tampa Bay almost every time I draft. So this is why. This is why. We can get some 4-5 pieces. That'd be great. 3-6. If we could go Rashad Bateman instead of adding Hollywood Brown to it, that'd be nice. Kincaid and Cooper. That's what we're gonna do. Kincaid. Actually, we're gonna go Amari Cooper and Kareem Hunt just to make sure we get that. Because like I said, in the AFC, I think these two teams are the best two teams. So those are the teams I definitely want to be building if possible. So he's building out I don't really know how this Super Bowl is better than mine. I guess Saquon has a game, but getting 2 Eagles there, you ideally don't really want that. McConkey goes. Kincaid goes to the Josh Allen owner. Interesting. He goes, I guess Rams makes sense. He goes Bucky. That's unfortunate for us because we really needed a running back. Oh, man, we really needed a running back there. Shoot. That really sucks for us. We might have to play Brian Robinson out and Terry as much as I don't want to, even though Terry's gone. Oh, man. Okay. Let's go 3-6. So that would be Dobbins. We could still do that. Go Dobbins and Kenny Gainwell. I don't love that, but it's kind of something we had to do because Dobbins moves on to the Bills. We're okay still. They just lose. If they upset the Ravens, then they play the Bills and the Bills beat them. That's kind of how that goes. It is what it is. Tyler Johnson or Ty Johnson. I don't know why I call him Tyler. Keon Coleman's still there. I don't anticipate Keon Coleman staying there, but he could. Calcaterra. Not a big Aguilar guy. Dawson Knox. As long as I'm not drafting Jahan Dotson. I don't love Jahan Dotson at all. I don't know that he's a great play, but it is what it is. Hopefully we can get Keon Coleman. That's kind of the hope. So we get Keon Coleman and we can keep it moving. Then we could take another NFC team that's not 3-6, so 4-5, which is Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is gone. Bucky Irving's gone. And there goes Keon Coleman. Unfortunate for us. Is what it is. I will keep saying it is what it is. He doesn't even have. Okay. We realistically need 1, maybe 2 more running backs, but it's thin. We don't even need a quarterback. We don't even need to look at quarterbacks. Pickens can help us get through. You got 2 picks left, so Pickens can help us get through there. So now, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're gonna have another Bill. So Pickens is gonna have to be there to help us get through, unfortunately. And then we need another Bill. We need another Bill. So Mac Hollins or Ty Johnson. I'm going to put it as Ty Johnson. I think the running backs need a little bit help, and we need to have that other option. I think if we get the Eagles and Bills, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys still, but we only have one weapon. We have 2 weapons, so we should be good on a Super Bowl there. It's thin, but it works. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a stream there. So appreciate you all for hanging out tonight, for an hour or so, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.